In episode 3, Tedros tells Joss that they're going shopping. I'm guessing this is with Joss's money. On the way there, Leia, who's driving, has to put up with them being all over each other on the back seat. As in, it's not just a makeout session, he's properly going down on her and jokingly complaining about Leia's bumpy driving. They go into a store and they purposely stop for Joss to say hi and take photos with some screaming fans. Leia is sure that Tedros set this all up, calling the paparazzi and everything. In the store, Tedros manages everything that she buys. It's reminiscent of how Kanye managed Kim's wardrobe. And even when the male sales assistant suggests things, he shuts it down because he wants to be the only one who can have a say. He also actually threatens the guy for looking at Joss. Leia is outside on the phone with Chaim, Joss's manager, and she says that she's really weirded out by Tedros. He's taken over the house. He's even fired their cook Andres. We see an earlier scene then, a memory of all of them at the house earlier, where Tedros tells Leia that he's running the show now. He even slaps Andres the cook across the face and he makes Joss fire him, which she does apologetically. While they're out shopping, they have more gross sex in the change rooms, and when they get home, Chaim and the other manager are there to talk to Tedros. They pretend to get along with him, but later on in the car, as they're about to leave, they both agree that Joss is in trouble. Joss and Tedros have more sex again on her patio, and you can tell that these sex scenes were written by a man who knows nothing about women, because there's not a smidge of sexiness in them, and the guy is always fully clothed. The woman is always the one who is in a steamy position, and she's topless. Anyway, poor Leia and her look here is all of us. The other girl, who was Joss's backup dancer, seems to have taken over the music video and is doing really well with it. Remember last week, Joss struggled so much that Nikki scrapped the whole music video idea for her? Anyway, Joss opens up to Chloe about her mother's death. Tedros talks to Joss's creative director about how the management sucks, and this creative director, Weasel, says that if it were up to him, he would want to show just how raunchy and bad girl a pop star Joss is, and he would suggest using that photo, the leaked photo, yes, that one, as her album art. Obviously, Tedros is intrigued by the idea. To me, at least, it's fairly obvious that Tedros covets and is really envious of Joss's fame, her money, her lifestyle, and her talent, and for some reason, he seems to want to humiliate her a little, bring her down a notch. Joss is hanging out with Tedros' entourage, who seem to live in the house now, and they tell her about their philosophy of not saying no to anything. That's Tedros' philosophy. So they talk a little bit more about their kind of goofy new age philosophies, and to be fair to Joss, she does not drink the Kool-Aid right away. In fact, she kind of pushes back and they have a little bit of a debate, and it was nice to see that she was comfortable and confident in expressing her opposing views. Up until this point, I've only ever felt sorry for her, so I hope we see a little bit more of this Joss. So there seems to be some kind of coercion / sex cult thing, even though they're not there completely against their will. At dinner that evening, Joss makes a toast and she mentions that her mom got the house and that she's glad that she can fill it up with people who care about her, and she feels like on the mend and well for the first time in a long time. Tedros pushes the creative director to suggest that photo, as an album cover, and Leia is really shocked by this. She's like, no. Joss doesn't hate the idea behind it since everyone is capitalizing off of it anyway. It's one of those take your power back moments, but she ends up admitting that no, maybe it's best they not, because it was actually humiliating. She and Tedros go at it then because he challenges her, and we see that stronger version of Joss again. She absolutely stands up to him in front of all of his friends. I know in last week's episode I was hoping to see a little bit of the old Joss, and maybe this is her. She rather firmly tells him that she wants to be taken seriously in the music business and she wants her career to last and to have meaning. He says that it won't if she doesn't take risks. She says that it's easy to talk if you're not the one taking the risk. And she burns him by saying, you're talking to me like I'm new in the music industry. I'm not. You are. This is a man that's not used to being told no. It was an extremely satisfying scene to watch, although I know it can't last. She does hold her own, but then he finds a vulnerability. He pressures her to open up about her mom, and she's clearly uncomfortable about it at first. She even says she'd rather not talk about it. He eventually coaxes it out of her, using their new bond / family dynamic, telling her that they'll all be there for her, and she can open up, she can be who she is, and talk about her traumas. After a while, she reveals that her mother hit her with a hairbrush, anywhere people wouldn't notice. She'd do it to control Joss, to get her to remember lines, to get her to remember her choreography, to get her to wake up in the mornings. Basically, she was a stage mother who abused Joss. Right up until her mother got cancer and was unable to physically abuse her anymore. Tedros asks then if there's a part of her that wonders if the reason reason she's stuck in her music career now is because her mother isn't around. Does Joss miss the way getting hit motivated her? And she says yes, sometimes. Then Tedros says that Leia looks tired, so the blonde guy, Isaiah, should take her to bed. He then tells Joss that she should tap into that trauma, and he tells her to get the hairbrush. By the way, is The Weeknd the one singing the songs on the show? Because I've only ever heard maybe one or two of his songs in real life, and they weren't the worst, but I cannot stand the music on the show, whether it's him or not. Anyway, Joss comes down with the hairbrush and she hands it to him. Then the scene fades to black and it's the next morning. Well, what did he do? Of course, the show can't spare us and have it be implied that he abused her. They show us the scene. He hits her with the hairbrush in front of everybody and she cries out. Mind you, she's wearing a string and lacy lingerie in the scene. She's made to kneel by the fireplace, and I don't know if this is what the show is going for, but it's like they kind of tried to make it sexy. I don't know. But even for the show, it felt too far. Tedros seems as though he's into these sex cult ritualistic kind of things though. The creative director guy is there too with tears in his eyes. And he seems like such a hanger-on. I don't understand his position in Joss's management hierarchy. But I'm guessing they shut his ideas down for a reason, because he's a weirdo and a creep who now for the second time is standing by while Joss gets physically abused. Anyway, after this, Joss and Tedros take a bath together, and he seems especially attentive to brushing her hair and almost comforting her, being tender with her, and afterwards she thanks him for looking after her. Anyway, that's the latest episode of The Idol. If you have seen it, feel free to share your thoughts, and thank you for watching.